Well, we're obviously, as a team and as a program, excited to be here. The kids seem to be in a great frame of mind. I want them to really enjoy this experience, but I also want them to be focused on what we have at hand, which is playing an outstanding Wisconsin team. So, this is the start of it all today at practice.
Coach Ryan?
Well, I'll echo Cal's words. This is our first time being to this stage of the tournament. One of the players actually made a comment about as we were driving in. So this is the road to the Final Four. So I think our guys are loose enough. They understand it's another two-game tournament, hopefully. And we're just proud to represent the University of the State of Wisconsin and very happy to be here.
We'll now take questions for the head coaches, and we have three right in the middle. Let's start with Dana over here on the right side. Your name and media outlet.
With ESPN.com. For both of you, if you don't mind, there's so much attention these days paid on what's next for college players and going forward. Are we losing sight of what a great college player is all about, and just valuing a kid for what he's doing in the moment while he's in college, and just maybe being only a great college player?
We'll start with Coach Ryan for that one.
Well, here's all I got to say to Cal is when somebody asks me about one and done, all I remember is when my mom would give me a pork chop or a piece of meatloaf and I'd ask for another piece, she'd say, nope, one and done. So when you say about college athletes and what's made of this and what's made of afterwards and how many years and all that, there's a lot to be discussed. We're both on the board of directors with the NABC, and we've talked about this quite a bit. And I'm sure there's something coming down the road that's going to alter that. But all we know is we just want our players to get the most out of the experience. And I think we both are coaching guys and understand what that's all about. So I think we'll be okay.
Well, first of all, does a player have to be here 4 years to be a terrific college player? The last 4 years, our grade point average has been a 3.0. Our APR is as high as anybody in the country. They're college students. They're just not college students for 4 years in most cases, but in some they are. We don't talk about, and I imagine you don't either, but we don't talk about NBA. We're worried about winning college games and being a great college team, losing yourself in the team, doing less, which ends up being more. Losing yourself in the game. So we don't, and I don't think the kids are thinking all those things. The issue has become the connotation, one and done, is now become a bad connotation. I mean, so we're going to break out something new this week to get you guys off this one and done so that we can think about in another term, which is, trying to help these kids do what they're trying to do as college students, as where they want their careers to go.
We're going to stay on the right side toward the center.
Both coaches, Brian Hamilton from Sports Illustrated. Cal, you've got a real young team. Bo, you've got a veteran team, but everybody's new to this. So how do you guys manage this week, the surroundings, to try and keep the distractions to a minimum?
You want me to go first?
Please,
Coach Ryan
you've
first.
done it before.
Well, we know our guys are going to get in front of 75,000, look around and think, oh my, it's going to be that way. And then we'll both try to settle down our teams and try to get them to focus on basketball, lose themselves in a game, and just play a basketball game. But if you think these 18 and 19 and 20-year-old kids are going to be not cognizant of what's going around them, they will be. So our whole thing right now is, stay in a moment. Don't worry about Saturday. Let's worry about today. Try not to overload them with stuff and go from there.
Coach Ryan.
Yeah, there's no question. Our teams are who they are. We're not changing from last week, from last month. Hopefully everybody's playing better, and that's how we ended up here. But I always promise my Platteville guys, staying true in those national championships that we had. We played in front of maybe 5,000. So, Cal, I don't know what it's like to be in front of 75. But you're right. Once the ball's thrown up, you still have to manage in those first timeouts, no matter if it's Division I or Division III, you got to manage emotions and energy. And try to channel it the right way and get everybody concentrating on what it is we do and don't try to be somebody that we're not. So again, we try to encourage our players to take in the ambiance and the surroundings and all, but when it comes time to play, then just be who you are.
Let me just follow up just real quickly. And, you know, Bo just mentioned the national titles he's won. That's why we all respect him. It's hard to win and be the #1 team at any level. And what he's been able to do everywhere he's been is that championship level basketball. And that's why we coaches, we look and just say, this guy every year is doing the same thing and getting his teams to the highest level. And this is all the same, whatever level.
Thanks.
Staying in the center.
Yeah, this is primarily for you, Cal. There's a lot of ways to get here. You can get here with seniors, you can get here with freshmen, you can get here with offense, you can get here with defense, you can get here with a coach that's been around and a coach that's brand new. Can you talk a little bit about the way your team got here, and can you talk a little bit again about playing with so many freshmen, which you've talked about a lot?
Well, we got here through an absolute minefield and happened to not step on a mine. But it was I don't even know what to call it, what we just went through. And now my whole mission is to make sure we're not satisfied, that this team is still striving, and we all, like we're talking about, I think all our teams are still getting better. It's crazy, but when I look at the teams, they are. And you know, I think we got here by coming together, by absolutely accepting that if we don't do this together, we're all going down. And they started leaning on each other a little bit more and counting on each other a little bit more. And then the other thing is, you had a couple fearless guys out there. Shooting does matter in the NCAA tournament. If your team, one year we went 0 for 20 from the three-point line. Well, you can't win that game. So you got to make shots too. So I think that happened. We started shooting the ball a little bit better.
The next question's on the right side. Adam.
Adam Zagoria, SMY. For Coach Cal, can you talk about Dakari Johnson's progression and development this year? You know, was there kind of a moment or a game when the light went on for him? And also, what's his ceiling going forward?
Well, he's really a wonderful kid. He's the youngest player on the team. Well, James Young is, I think. He and James Young are the youngest two players. But he has gotten in better shape. He has really focused his game on a few things. He's a big body. He's 7 foot tall, and he's got long arms and big hands, and you know, he's just getting more confident and more confident. So, and the ceiling is obviously a 7-footer who can run and has got skills. He's obviously a high ceiling.
The next question's on the left side toward the front.
Davidson, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Coach Ryan, can you just talk about what it means to get to this point in this stage in your career? And Coach Cal, if you could weigh in on what it is like seeing a coach like Coach Ryan finally get to this point.
I'm not worried about Coach Ryan. I'm worried about my team.
Well, you know, seriously, I look out there at our profession and think about all those coaches that haven't had a chance to coach in the Final Four, who are as bright and as sharp and as tough and as good a mentor as anybody you'd ever want to see who might not ever have a chance to do this. Tom Davis, Gene Cady, all the other guys that have really been great teachers, had good teams. I'm the same person I was 3 weeks ago, a month ago. So for me, it's not like maybe what you think it is to me, because of how I got into the profession as a teacher first in junior high school, and then they gave me a coaching job. So I didn't do it the way most of the guys that are coaching now. I just happened to do it a different way, and there's no right way or wrong way. But for me, I get so excited about seeing the student get an A on the test as much as, you know, the same as seeing a player get better and perform well and come together and have a unit come together as a team. So for me, I want you to put it on the players, have it be about them. I'm very happy to be here and roam the sidelines. And I've studied John on the sidelines, so I know what moves to make, what...
You're more aggressive than me. I've watched that too now.
So you got an Italian and an Irishman up here. We figured you went from 4 coaches at one time to 2 coaches at one time because you couldn't get the mic away from either one of us. I think they did 4 coaches before, didn't they, Cal?
I don't have any idea.
But they throw you and I together. So for me, it's fun. It's great. It's nice to see the players do that. And how Cal feels about an old guy sitting next to him, you have to ask him.
We're both. I used to be the young guy. Now I'm the old guy. The one thing I would tell you, we coaches do not look at this the way you all look at this. We just don't. We don't. Bo just said it. You know how many coaches are out there that maybe are not at the school that would help them get there, or there are coaches who took teams to an Elite 8. That's like winning a national title at the school they were at. So I don't think we evaluate any coach based on Final Fours or who made it or national title. We just know who can coach, who's a good guy, who gets their teams better, who cares about kids. We know those guys. I mean, they didn't. If they made it to a Final Four, great. If they didn't, that didn't change my opinion of them.
In the back toward the left.
Earl Arms, CBS 58, Milwaukee. This is for Coach Bo. You've gotten to this point, to the Final Four. You've all talked about your legacy being, quote unquote, completed with being at a Final Four. How would a national championship starting now complete your legacy? How would you evaluate that?
I think there'd be a lot more cheese sold across the country and some other products that I probably shouldn't mention, but what the state of Wisconsin is known for. Look, the alumni, the size of our school and how many people are out there that have attended University of Wisconsin, the people in our state. And I've been out of Pennsylvania for a long time now. I've lived more of my life in Wisconsin rather than Pennsylvania. So for Wisconsin, for the school, for everybody involved, and more importantly, for the young men that have run the hill, lifted in the weight room, put their sweat on that floor every day. That's who you root for. You know, you got to root for the student athlete. And then to have our guys trying to catch up when we were getting back from your guys, the same thing. You got to catch up with all the work that you missed and all the time they put in a very short period of time. It would be so exciting if we were to be the last team standing. I would just stand back and look at those guys and just smile, inside and outside.
On the center aisle to the right, Jeannie.
Janine Edwards, ESPN. Congratulations to both of you on tremendous seasons. Coach Cal, I want to ask you on the teleconference the other day. You talked about now you're just coaching basketball, whereas maybe a month ago you were coaching other things, body language, sharing, that type of thing. How much of this season has been you putting on your psychiatrist hat and having to coach those other things to get to the point where you are right now?
How did you know I was seeing a psychiatrist?
What'd they charge?
Aaron said it best. He doesn't have to coach effort and intensity and focus. He's coaching basketball now, and it took us 4 months. Took us 4 months. So now they got it. They're young. It takes time. You cannot skip steps. We all want to skip steps. We all want freshmen to be sophomores and juniors. They're not. You have people say, well, they're no longer freshmen. They're still freshmen. They still are freshmen. And it just takes time. There were people saying, well, Cal's not having any fun. I was having a ball with this team. Now, I had to be really aggressive. I had to raise the standard and say this is what's not acceptable, and I never budged. But I always believed in the team, and I always believed in individual players. And so it is what it is. I mean, they just take time for the kids, and I'm proud of them. I know what's going to happen at the beginning of this game. I can tell you if you want to, I'll write it down, and you can open it up after. They're young. 7 freshmen are playing.
Next question is in the front. Greg.
Greg Logan of Newsday for Coach Ryan. Can you just reflect on all those years you spent in Platteville, and did you have offers to leave, or even with your success, was it tough to be able to move up from there finally, and what was it about the Wisconsin area that you liked so much?
Well, that would take a real long answer, so I'm going to cut right to the chase and simply say that at Platteville, I was given a chance to, I carried the paintbrushes and the paint as an assistant at Wisconsin. I got a chance to now use my own strokes as a head coach in 1984. I was given that opportunity by George Christ, the AD, who had been a football assistant at Wisconsin, got a chance to take over a program and get a chance to build it in a community that was totally different than anything I had been used to. It was a rural area, and just had a great time raising a family and coaching and teaching. I also taught classes, and I really enjoyed it. And there were other opportunities that came up, not really quite what I wanted, not in an area maybe that I wanted to move to, and just enjoyed Wisconsin so much, having been an assistant for 8 years, then at Platteville. And then Nancy Zimpher, who was the president and Bud Haiti, the AD at UWM, convinced me that there was a vision they had at UWM and the campus and being right on the lake and it was really, have you ever been there to UWM? It's really a neat place. So I decided, okay, we had just won in double overtime. I figured the other guys were catching up on us, so it was time to go. And because Tony Shaver, who's at William & Mary now, they probably should have had us in '99. Anyhow, go to Milwaukee, get a chance to be there a couple years, and then Pat Richter called. It was the shortest conversation of all time. Bo. Yeah, who's it? This is Pat. Yeah, Pat. He goes, are you ready? I said, you know I'm ready. And that was it. We drove to Madison the next day, got some things done, and got a chance to coach at University of Wisconsin. Not too many people get a chance to go back to a school where they had been an assistant, and we didn't get to the NCAA tournament. So I was very fortunate.
Next question's on the left side.
And that was the short version, Cal.
Kate Haropoulos, Dallas Morning News. For Coach Cal, why do you think your program can be, let's say, a magnet for criticism sometimes?
It's Kentucky.
Did you get the sense that when the team was struggling that people enjoyed
It's Kentucky. This is what you buy into when you want to coach at Kentucky or play at Kentucky. Got some guys with agendas. Got some guys that, it's that program. It's part of it.
And would you mind talking about Larry Brown's influence on you as a coach?
Yeah, Coach Brown, I worked for him at the University of Kansas. It was funny because you end up dressing like him, walking like him. Now I'm having to have my hips replaced like him, talking like him, and I just learned so much from him. The biggest thing is if you care about the kids and you truly care, you'll always have a job. That was like the main thing that he would talk about, aside from the basketball. And then I got fired as the New Jersey Nets coach. And he called me and said, hey, why don't you come down with me? And I thought, Scout, no, I want you on the bench with me. What? And at the time, he was trying to throw me a life raft. So, he's been special to me. He's a mentor, a friend. And obviously now we're all seeing he hasn't lost it as a coach. His team obviously is proving that they were better than, the committee gave him credit for, and I'm happy for him.
Final question on the left side.
Cal, Julius said yesterday that he was in middle school in study hall when he found out the Final Four in 2014 would be here, and he's had that on his radar since then. Is something like that good for a guy like him, the way he's motivated, or do you worry that this is too big of a thing for him playing?
You hear
at
what
home?
you're asking me? So I got like 18-year-olds, and they're all out there, and we played Louisville, and we couldn't even shoot because we couldn't extend our arms. It's going to be a tough deal for all of them. And so our whole thing is just stay focused on us, and Julius has been fine. He's played better and better as the year has gone on. Basically, he's doing less, which looks like more. But it's hard to convince young people that way. It's hard to convince any of our players that if you're doing less, you're going to look better. You know, and for him, he is. And I'm really proud of him. He's a great kid. You know, again, this has been hard. These young kids, to be challenged and coached, to be critical of their game at times where they've never had anybody critique their game in any kind of negative way, that's a challenge too, and that's taken time for them to understand. He's trying to make me better. You know, you want me to lie to you, I'll lie to you if you want me to tell you the truth. Then they all say, tell me the truth. And when you tell them the truth, what was the lie? Am I right?
I always ask them, always tell me if I've ever lied to you. Have I ever lied to you?
Yeah.
They always say no. But
please, this time, Coach, lie to me.
yeah.